EVH. I'm Eric Von Hessler. That's Autumn Fisher.
Good morning.
That's Michael Albanese. And that is Greg Russ. We'll get back to
Greasy
Michael.
hair Greg.
Greasy hair Greg, who hasn't taken a shower in 3 days.
2.
Gets here late.
Late. I was the first one here.
Well, you're late for you because you had my
Are we
computer.
up and running?
I don't want to start this show arguing.
Is everything okay?
We started yesterday's show arguing, and I don't want people to tune in and think is that all they got? They argue with each other? We're happy and
People
we're
like
sunshine.
arguing. Why do you think reality TV is so popular?
That's true.
We can start pulling each other's hair.
Peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. You got to go down to go up.
Cat fight.
Yeah.
And then Autumn can stand at the side and drink her champagne.
And root us on.
Yes.
Michael Albanese.
Yes.
Just informed me right before we went on that he may have to exit the show for bathroom breaks quite often because I don't think he was real nice to himself last night.
Listen, here's the thing. When you're on a very strict, workout regimen,
yes,
and you're on a very strict diet regimen, sometimes you have to take the good with the bad. And, I was juicing all night last night.
Yeah.
And I consider vodka to be potato juice.
And so you fell off the wagon because you haven't been drinking in quite some time.
I mean, falling off the wagon, I think, is when it's like incidental or like you don't realize you're falling off. But I walked right up to the bar and saw there was $2 Jaeger shots, and
you said, "This is for me."
Well, there was a lot of people around me, and I was like, "Let's get drunk."
Mm-hmm.
Jaeger. You still drinking Jaeger?
When it's $2, I am.
Jaeger's the worst.
I vomited from Jaeger the night after drinking it when I was 21 and never again.
So now, see,
food got stuck in the shower drain. There was still something in my stomach a little bit, and I had to clean out the
You
shower
gotta
drain.
stamp that down, man. Come on, be
I
a
was
pro.
done
What are
the
you
last
doing?
time.
Now that can happen to you because I smoked this was when we were out in LA is when the cigar bar phenomenon started, and we did an appearance at a cigar bar. I'd never smoked a cigar in my life. I'm not a cigarette smoker, but I wanted to be cool. And the guy told me, "No, this is the cigar that you want,"
it's very
and whatever.
masculine.
And so I paid a bunch of money for a cigar, and I smoked about maybe maybe a quarter of it at the appearance. And then it cost so much damn money, I took the cigar home with me, and I didn't realize that cigars go bad, like tobacco goes bad. And I just kind of threw it in a drawer. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I was like, "Oh, it's a beautiful summer day here in Glendale, California. I'll sit on my back porch, smoke a cigar."
Stale
Got
cigar.
so sick. And now in my mind, I'll never smoke a cigar again. It's the two are together. I got sick off of split pea soup once a few years ago. Always loved split pea soup.
Just looking at it made you sick?
No, I love it. I know it does look like vomit,
It
but
came out the exact same way it went in.
that's the good thing is
Yeah.
I knew exactly what it was. But that was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I've never eaten split pea. If you get the vomit connection in your mind, so you'll never do Jaeger again. It's a good thing.
I'll tell you one thing though. I did vomit ramen noodles once. Soon after I ate them, and they came up whole, the same way they went down. I still eat those.
Yeah, but it wasn't the ramen.
The
that
same
caused
ones.
The
You just pick it right back up, put it in the bowl.
I did one of them.
We should
was
invent
very poor.
It was a party trick. Hey, watch this, like the goldfish, except hey, watch this vomited ramen noodle
We
go
should
down my
invent
throat.
a garbage disposal for your shower, so
That's
you can puke in your shower.
a shower for alcoholics.
Yeah, or for maybe if you just have to poop. Like you don't want to.
I have not vomited in 6
You know, like
years.
if you have to, you're in the shower and you have to poop, and then you're like, I'm all clean. I have to get out and poop.
Yeah.
Let's poop in the shower.
Yeah.
It
Let's
would be
turn on
pretty
the
cool
garbage
if they had
disposal.
like a turlet in the shower.
Hey, rail travel, by the way, or if you ever go on a cruise ship, such small bathrooms that the shower is there with a detachable shower head. You can sit on the toilet if you like and take
Really?
a shower at the same time.
That is disgusting. That is really disgusting. And one of the,
You
one
think
of the,
so?
It's one of the 722 reasons I don't take trains anywhere. What's number
Name
37?
some of the other ones. Name what's number.
Oh, you want to know what number 1 is?
No, I
go
want
right to number one.
No, I don't. We'll get to number 1. I want to know what number 354 is.
Claustrophobia.
Wow.
Way
That
too small.
ranks-
Way too small. And even though the trains today aren't like this, all the trains in all the old movies, they're walking in that little corridor where they can barely walk by each other. So in my mind, Hard Day's Night, that's a train. It's too small for me. So that's number whatever.
701.
701?
Yes.
I don't like trains. I kind of I wanted to get to my number, and so 701 was I don't like trains. But
What's
I'll tell you
one,
what
then?
number 1.
What is it?
Number 1 is that it's one of those situations where you have to eat with strangers.
No.
Where you go into the car. You know what I'm talking about? If you
No,
eat
that's
in
why I'm
the
laughing.
car, if you eat in the car, there's only so much in the food car, like the restaurant car.
You're still talking about trains.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go and eat there, they only have 4 or 5 booths or whatever. So 2 people are sitting at a booth. You don't know them, and you got to sit down next to them and eat with strangers. and I can't do that. I don't want to.
How is
But
this
you
different
strike up a
from flying?
conversation.
How is this different from flying? So far, everything except for I don't like trains is the same. It's small in a
Number
plane.
one, I don't like planes either, but you get to Los Angeles in 3 hours. You
Instead
can't
of
beat
8
it,
hours?
You know, so there's a pro to it that is trains. You don't get there faster than driving.
Right.
You know, so it's just a big pain in
You
the ass.
slam an Ambien, you get there in about 30 seconds.
Maybe that's the thing to do.
Yeah,
Is just
time
knock
travel.
yourself out. So no, that's number one. It's like the dining car. I can't go in and just sit down and eat Cheerios.
You can take it back to your seat though, if you'd like.
Yeah, but the seats are not what they used to be.
No, the seats are great.
Are they? They're more like Greyhound seats.
There's
now,
a
the last
lot of
time I was
room.
on.
Everyone has their own outlet, so you can plug in your phone and distract yourself.
Oh,
and
maybe
then
it's
there's
fancy.
a support for your calves.
Yeah.
So if you want to sleep,
For your calves.
yeah, it doesn't actually cover your feet, but it kind of goes down to your ankle.
Right.
Support your calves.
What if I don't like the person next to me? I'm stuck with them for 17 hours.
Well,
That is
yeah.
not my idea of a
This
good
was
time.
the woman next to me. I think I brought this up already, but she wanted the window seat, and for the first 10 minutes of the ride, I really wanted the window. I really wanted the
She's
window.
talking to herself.
I wanted the window. Yeah, talking to herself. She's talking to me too. Like I'm going to be a gentleman and give it up to her. No, I want that window. I want to look out. I want to see the scenery, and I
Right.
also want to rest my head against it when I go to sleep.
You should have started
And you
talking.
brought the Ambien. Brought that up. I took a Klonopin and passed out.
I can't
It's
sleep on
beautiful.
planes.
You didn't even. You can't sleep on a
I
plane.
cannot sleep on a plane.
No matter how long the flight.
Unless I'm in first class, which is almost always. No, I can't sleep on. I've been in first class one time, but yeah, other than that, I can't sleep because I mean, I cannot. Like the seats are so.
Well, you're a big
Oh,
guy.
and you're
You
so
deal
big.
with
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even like I'm a big guy. Like I'm wide, but
Yeah.
I'm tall. Like
So
my
tall.
torso, like my knees, no matter where I'm at,
Same
I'm
with
like
me.
right in on somebody. But I typically I can get even bigger on a plane so that they like voluntarily to go. We got a exit seat if you like
If
it.
you'd like to come on.
I get that. I
Yeah.
love that. I just have these like I just start getting real swole up. I'm like, sorry everybody. And then they always throw me in the good
Dinty
seat.
Moore coming through.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what do you are you smart about it and try to get the window seat or the aisle seat? You don't want to get that middle seat.
I actually think it's better for me. I used to try to take the aisle seats, but I feel like it's better for me to get the window because then I can like kind of lean, like
Yeah.
push my body up against the wall as much as I can. And I think it's because if I'm in the aisle, I spill out into the aisle and I'm always having to like
Yeah, your leg is out there.
like get next to the person next to
Yeah.
me or something.
No, the window seat is best if you're like me. I have great control over my bladder, and if I'm on a plane for 3 hours, I don't have to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, nothing's worse than the guy in the window seat who has to get up 3 times in a 2-hour flight. If you're going to take the window seat, have control over your bladder.
Do you tell people that next to you? You're like, hey, just so you know, I
Right.
gotta pee real bad, but you're safe.
Was
You're
that
safe. Yeah,
was
right.
that something when people? What's your biggest strength?
It's one of my biggest strengths.
You write it on an application for
Bladder
work.
Let me
control.
tell not only bladder control, the whole deal down there, and this all started
Down there.
at Camp Kayakima when I was 11 years old in Boy Scouts. We went there for a week, and it was like the military latrines. Like you walk in there and there's no wall between, and people are sitting there just going to the bathroom, and I was not going to do that. I held it for a week, not a 5-day week. A 7-day week. And let me tell you, on the way home, when my parents came to pick me up, we hit a Dairy Queen in Arkansas somewhere, and I'm sure there's still evidence left there from 1975
So
or
is
whatever
that,
it
is
was.
that when I see somebody that made a mess like on the top of the toilet? It's like,
Yeah.
what did you do?
They were at Camp Kayakima.
What did you eat?
Couldn't you wait until the middle of the night or something and sneak into the
I
bathroom?
did that. What I did was I pretended that I wasn't feeling good when everybody went off to do some
Right.
sort of Boy Scouty adventure thing. And I went in there and I was alone. So here's my moment, right? It's just as I'm about to walk up to one, 3 wasps.
Dun, 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 dun,
3
dun.
wasps fly out of one of the latrines. You understand what I'm saying? 3 wasps.
Yes.
So the other thing that I'm really afraid of at this time when I'm a kid is I'm afraid of wasp and bees. So
Oh, wow.
very bad. When I was a kid, I feared wasp and bees unbelievably.
Why did you
So the
say
one
wasps?
time I'm there, I walk in, 3 wasps fly out of one. I'm not sitting my butt down on that where 3 wasps flew out.
Are you talking about 3 Italians from the 1930s?
I
flew
said
out?
wasp.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why aren't
I
you
thought
saying
said
wasps? Why aren't you putting an S on the end of wasps?
3 wasps.
Yeah.
It's wasp.
Three
spy.
wasps.
It's wasp
They're not.
spy.
3 waspers
Yeah.
came out of it, and so really, literally, and this is not a lie. 7 days. 7 days I held it.
The
so yes,
universe-
I would say that this is one of my great qualities.
You're still
is I
backed
can
up,
hold
man.
it.
The universe
You
was
know-
conspiring against your bowel
Yeah,
movement.
well, or teaching
Was it
me
meant
how
to be?
control them. Because I have shy kidneys. I can't go to the bathroom at a ball game. I can't walk in and just go to the bathroom.
Can you pee in
Kidneys
front of your
are
wife?
the ones that control your bladder. Shy kidneys.
Shy kidneys is what it's called. That syndrome is called when you
Is it
can't
really?
let it go. There's a clinical name for it. It starts with a P. I can't remember what it is.
PP bad.
pee-
not
pee-
bad time.
Pee bad.
PP shame. So
I like the idea of a shy kidney. Your kidney's just like, I don't know if I can go.
How about this one? I used to go
Everyone's
tailgate
looking at me.
back in the heyday of the Buffalo Bills, and they were going to the Super Bowls and losing them all the time. I went to every game just about it in Buffalo, and we would tailgate for hours and drink and like crazy, and I would hold it.
They had the
That was-
troughs in
Every
that
once in a
stadium?
while, I get drunk enough, I go out in the woods and take care of it. But
During the
even-
tailgate, but within the stadium, because older stadiums have troughs.
Oh yeah,
there's not even a
chance.
urinal.
That's how Buffalo was then. I don't know if they've changed them now. They've upgraded the stadium a little bit. But yeah, you walk in and it's a bunch of guys around a big trough.
And there's
Not
always
even-
the guy who squeeze in. Like there's a little bit of space, and most people would stand back. He doesn't
You're
care.
talking about the trough that goes along the wall that's in one seat.
Yes.
They actually in Buffalo they had this thing that was
horseshoe.
around. So yeah, you're standing around looking at each other. I mean that is just horrific.
You said they upgraded the stadium. Does that mean they moved it out of Buffalo? Because that's about the only upgrade I think they
Of
could
course,
get.
it's in Orchard Park, New York, which is a leafy suburb of
Why?
Buffalo.
Have you seen it in the urinals? Autumn, you can chime in on this one.
Yeah.
In the urinals, they put ice.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ice
that seems
chips.
like fun.
Why?
Because isn't it fun to aim for something and
Yeah,
melt
that's what
it?
it's for. It's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun to melt the ice
It
with
is.
your
Yeah.
It
urine.
is fun.
I don't-
However,
I don't.
Does it dissipate the smell, or would it make it worse by creating
Actually,
steam?
you know, yeah, the heat probably is
Maybe
maybe
the
more
heat is-
stinky. So if it's colder,
Maybe
it doesn't smell as
dissipates
bad.
the smell a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there is nothing worse than walking up behind somebody in a urinal. You get that hot pee breath.
Yeah.
Like off of them, you're just like, holy.
Somebody
shit.
ate a lot of Cheerios.
I love when my pee smells like Cheerios.
Oh, yeah?
I love
I think
that.
it means you're healthy
To
to some degree.
Yeah.
Your whiz should be totally clear. That's
Not
when you're
totally
really,
clear.
Just
Really?
about as clear as can be. Yeah.
That's unhealthy.
Light
Yeah.
lemonade, I thought.
No, yeah, but it shouldn't be.
You need to
The
take
more
vi-
yellow, the
Yeah.
worse off you
No,
are.
because you
no, you're
slam
losing-
some vitamins, it becomes
That
neon
depends.
green, man.
Yeah, it depends.
Wait, your guys'
Wow.
peas
Look,
in
you're
red all the
juicing-
time?
You're juicing.
After I eat beets, yeah, it
Oh, yeah.
throws me for a loop.
Everything's red
Every
after
time I
you eat
forget.
Fruit Loop.
Every time I buy beet juice now, which is a lot,
Mm-hmm.
they always say it goes in the same color as it comes out. Don't be scared.
By the way, it says these urinal chips, the ice chips, because people don't flush. Urinal cakes serve the same purpose. Sometimes
Right.
people don't flush.
Now, my favorite thing
But
in your
the ice is cheap. You put it in there, and as it melts, as you're peeing on it, it kind of washes
That's a great
away.
job. Hey, Bob, go ice the Johns again.
They do that at the Claremont Lounge here in Atlanta.
Well, they do everything classy at the Claremont Lounge.
I eat the ice chips. Put them in my vodka.
The fat nude lady's eating them as part of her act in the middle of the bar.
Jesus Christ.
Claremont Lounge, not really my scene.
It's fun.
It is. Everybody tells me it's fun.
Yeah.
I have friends who tell me it's fun.
Have you
Not
been?
everybody is.
I've been.
Let's
every
go
time
as a
I'm with-
show.
Listen,
Yeah,
not
I've-
everybody is disgusting.
Kevin takes me there all the time.
Not the
He loves
people
it.
that are there.
The people work. Not everyone working is gross. There's matches. I love matches. She puts matches on her boobs and she lights them. Lights the matches.
Well, look, this is a good floor show.
There's
I'm
the
not saying it
tattoo girl.
Would you kiss any of them on the mouth?
No,
Boom.
is. Before we,
but to look at them is not so bad.
I always sit facing whoever. I go over and I sit and I face away from the stage. It's just annoying. It's weird to me. So
He sits at the bar but facing away. He's like, I am not
yeah,
looking.
there's some booth
My
like
kidneys
things.
and me
Yeah,
are
it's in
very
the bathroom,
shy.
and before we get off urinal cakes, the thing that always sort of surprised me, I don't know if they still do this, but for a while they had anti-drug messages on the urinal cake. So you're whizzing and it says "Say no to drugs." And so I'm thinking that they did some sort of studies and they found that people's minds are actually changed while they're at the urinal. They're taking a whiz and they look down and they go, hey, you know, that urinal cake is making some sense. I shouldn't do drugs.
We should
And
advertise.
they walk away and they never do drugs again.
Wow.
Advertise a taxi service. That'd be amazing. I'd like to make ones that say
There are advertisements on the urinal cakes
It's
now.
a good place for an advertisement.
You know
You're
what they
looking
should,
down.
You know what they should do is put like a chemical on the urinal cake and have like a key in front of it, in front of the urinal, that tells you like maybe certain STDs you might have, or you're low on a certain vitamin or something. Like if the cake turns a different
science
color.
that doesn't exist.
Yeah, they should.
What are you talking about? There's the like if you pee on in a
but you need
tube and
brand new
you dip a
strip.
stick into it.
You need a brand new. You need a brand
No,
new
but
one
maybe
for
it would
everybody
be
who stepped up there.
No, it would be all different colors, and you could see like, ooh, somebody's
It's like a
got...
pH test now.
I like how
Coded.
you said what kind of STDs. Like, how many do you have? Roll the dice. Here at the Claremont Lounge, you obviously already have syphilis.
Somebody got
And also,
herpes.
Michael was alluding to the fact that he had a little bit of a panic attack last night, as is in his drunken state. Tell me what you were doing. You were telling me you were rolling over. And
No, I just didn't sleep much because the problem is that when I drink a lot, I'm fine, and when I eat a lot, it's a problem when I eat and I drink in excess. Like just like the band, I don't know. I just can't sleep as soon as I lay down. Like I can just feel every beat, all the rhythms of my heart, and then I'm like rolling from side to side, and then like I'm trying to watch nature documentaries and
anything to take your mind off your heart. Not working properly.
I used to sleep in the shower with the shower on. I used to have an apartment where they didn't charge. There was no water bill. Like in Florida, there's typically no water bills, and I used to sleep in the shower with the shower on because like the sound of the water hitting me, stopped me from hearing my heart. So that's how I'd sleep. I'd go in there until I'd wake up like, oh, you're fine now. The panic would be over, and then I'd be fine.
I used to get panic attacks all the time, and then
They're
I learned
terrifying.
to moderate what was getting me there. You know, I learned to smoke a little less, drink a little less, get to the place that.
Was alcohol sending you to panic attacks?
No, it was
marijuana.
That was sending me to panic.
Yeah, that started when I was in high school. That would happen too. Like I would say goodbye to people because I thought I was so paranoid. I was so ready to die.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. This is the one. I'm dead right now. And I'd be like, guys, I'm sorry, but I just want to let you know you guys are great friends.
Goodbye.
And they'd be like, Mike, shut up.
I spoke to myself for 30 minutes in the mirror last time I smoked pot. Just stood there. You're fucking up your life. What are you doing? You're wasting it. You're going to die alone. That was it. That was the last time. And then I became claustrophobic in my own body. I felt trapped in my body.
Well, that's
So I
what the
stood
paranoia does. It's
pacing
just
around.
it's like you can feel normally your organs work in silence, and you're not aware of the fact that your heart is beating all the time, and your liver's doing work, and all pancreas is doing all of its work.
Then I started thinking, why is it not ending? It could end right now.
It could
Who
end at
knows?
any time. It seems preposterous that it would beat like that for 80 years.
Absolutely.
and I think about when I'm having a panic attack, I think about all the different parts of a car and how often a car breaks down and you have to take it in. A car doesn't last 80 years without something going wrong.
I just hope my body's a Honda, man, because they don't stop. I had the same issue in like when I first started smoking pot. When I was like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And in high school, the mirror. I got me and my buddy Bob, who's a great comic. He's actually the guy that got me started in comedy. It means nothing at this point.
No, please tell us
He's
more.
the one who ruined your life.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
what you're saying.
We used to get stuck in a mirror. My buddy's house we always used to smoke at would have it had this long mirror like all the way down the wall,
Right.
with like a bar at it, and you can sit right looking at the mirror, and we would sit there and we just still for an hour or two on end because in our minds we were so high that we would get trapped in the mirror, meaning that we were the reflection
Right.
and the actual reflection was us.
So
We couldn't move
Until they
move.
Right.
And so we would just I mean, this is great radio, obviously, this part, but it's just and every now and again we'd like, oh, dude, are you good? I can't move. We would like, and then we learned how to become ventriloquists, and then we have this great puppet show now out of it. So that's
actually ended in a great showbiz career.
Sounds like a joy. Did you continue to smoke pot after that?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Well, I had a buddy who told me, you're just doing too much. You got to slow down. Just don't go so far. And then just take a couple puffs, see where you are. If you like it,
One or
stay
the
there.
other. Drink or
Right.
smoke
Don't do
or live your life.
Oh, you don't like both. You don't like both at the
No.
same. You don't like to mix the drink and the smoke.
Not anymore. I used to, back in the day.
I
but
find a
now
nice
it's
beer on top.
Every time I
beer
smoked,
ruins things for
after
me.
I drank, I would throw up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're a lightweight.
I was like, well, I'm not doing that anymore.
I was having panic attacks so bad in the 80s, late 80s, that
Back in
literally
your
while I was
early 40s.
I would hallucinate. Right? I wasn't even
Oh,
on
yeah.
anything. I remember one time I was in a car and I got so freaked out that depth perception changed. Like the street light looked like it was 100 yards away all of a sudden. I got myself home. But I did it a lot, and I got to credit my great and wonderful, lovely wife for really kind of kicking it out of me for the most part, because when we were together only for about maybe a year, at one point I was on the floor next to the commode, curled up in a fetus position, having a panic attack. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die. This is the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. My, not my wife at the time, my live-in girlfriend walks in the bathroom.
You sinner.
She looks down on me and she says, "Get the fuck up." And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get up, because if I was dying, it would be obvious to her. You know when you have a panic attack and you walk into the emergency room and you think that they're going to see you and just immediately rush you back. And you walk up and you're like, anything's... And the lady's like, okay, take a number, sit down. The reason is because she knows what a face looks like when you're dying. And to her...
You can't walk in.
If you're in an emergency room, I'd love to talk to somebody who works in one. They must see 5 a night.
Oh,
guys who just got too high and think they're dying.
That approach works too. That just get the fuck up.
Right.
Like,
just get up.
Yeah, there's no reason to overanalyze it, talk about it. If my thing is, if I'm doing something, someone says, "Stop being an asshole." Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
You know what? That is an option.
Yeah. Instead of saying, "Hey, here's what you're doing right now, and there's the reason you shouldn't be doing it," and no, just stop being an asshole.
You know, we're a very understanding society now, and I think that there's good things in that. But I think sometimes we do, every once in a while, just need a smack in the back of the head, just like get off it.
I've been to the ER twice. And
in panic
the
mode.
Orange County Health Resource Department is still looking for the money.
Florida?
Yeah, and they can
Florida.
They can blow me. Honestly, I'm not paying it. However, my panic attack.
You're angry at them for helping you through this panic attack.
They owe me.
Yeah, I gave them business.
What cured my panic attack both those times? I walked into the emergency room and I was like, "Oh, you don't need to be here. What do you do?" Immediately when they see the bright lights and life is existing around you, because when you get a panic attack, you kind of get in this like closed space where it's like nothing else matters, and like this is and then as soon as you get into like reality, you're like, "Oh, you're an idiot. This is straight panic."
I walked into the emergency room once, and once I got there, I realized that I still had that, whatever I was cleaning the pipe with, with the resin on it, in my top pocket. So as I'm having a panic attack in the emergency room, I go into the bathroom, get rid of that, put it in the trash.
That's pretty incredible.
I've never had a panic attack.
Well, you know what?
You've clearly never accidentally smuggled drugs onto an airplane, then either.
Right.
No, you're lucky. Well, you don't partake, Autumn. So,
but that makes me think: why would you partake then? If it just
because when you don't have a panic attack, it's great.
I stopped getting high. Like when I was.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, like I stopped being high when I would smoke. I just wasn't enjoying it.
Well, you were starting to have a panic attack. That's what you were starting.
No, I wasn't. No.
Well, did you feel disconnected from the people and you couldn't? That's where
No,
it starts.
I felt like I couldn't. I was just all focused on parts of my body.
That's it. That's the beginning of a panic attack.
But I wasn't
you didn't go full blown. But that's the beginning of it. That's where it starts.
I felt like my cheeks. I couldn't relax the muscles in my face.
Yeah, that's the beginning. You just didn't care enough about it to go ahead and have a panic attack. Because if you drill down further, it's like, my face and the skin and what's keeping it on there. I mean, why don't my eyes just stop working? And then boom, you're gone. Everything can break down.
I just stopped. Yeah, it just wasn't fun. I wasn't high.
Well, you shouldn't do things if they're not fun. You shouldn't
Yeah.
do anything recreational that you don't find fun. That's what I was saying. My buddy that I went to and told him this, he said, your problem is that you're growing older. I mean, I was in my late 20s or whatever, and he said, you're trying to do this like you're 17. Just take a couple of puffs, see where you are. If you like it, stay there. If not, take another puff.
But even when I would take just one hit or something, it was just
it just wasn't for you.
Yeah, it wasn't working for me anymore.
It's become too strong. It's too good these days.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah.
I would prefer the swag, as they call it. That's
at least go with the mids.
No, okay,
the mids.
Well, you have to talk about different things, right? You have to talk about whether it's indica or a sativa.
I don't. No, sativa is not pot. That's a different thing.
No.
I mean, sativa is part of that, but the thing
That's what
you're
I'm saying.
thinking
No.
of...
There's different categories, right? Like if you have a more sativa pot, then
know.
it's going to give you a body high. And if you have an indica pot, then it's going to give you a head high. And,
I like the head high.
Well, yeah.
But it makes your eyes all
Mids is the
red
best they could come up with.
Mids.
Mids.
Lazy.
Not terrible.
Yeah. Mids.
Not way up here.
Just mids.
I like the mids. So it's all a matter of moderation, as with anything. Same thing with alcohol. Mm-hmm. If you drink to excess, you're going to be vomiting the next day, like some people who have to get up at some point in this show and
I'm good.
Let it go out of both ends. But hey, that happens. I want to... So at this point of the show, I'm just going to stop and let you and Michael talk to each other about whatever viral videos you're looking at.
We're not looking at any videos. We're simply talking. We're pointing at a picture of you, going, "How good is he
so
aging
handsome.
right now?"
It's a sad, It's a sad day in rock and roll. because
It is very sad.
the guitarist from Devo. Now,
Is this part of news?
No, it's me talking about this before news because I don't want Autumn to bring up a band that she really doesn't know about. Whereas I was 15 years old when this was playing on the radio in 1979. So it's Bob Casal, the guitarist you're hearing right there.
Dead
at 61. Heart attack?
Yep. Heart failure. I don't know what the
difference between a heart attack and heart failure? Wouldn't that be an attack?
I feel like every death is heart failure.
I think maybe
right?
yeah.
He died because his heart stopped.
Like saying, yeah, and your brain stops after your heart, and then
Yep.
you're dead. I think failure is something that happens over time. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and then it can't pump the blood. Whereas a heart attack is maybe there's too much, and you're just like kind of pow, pow, pow kind of thing.
The heart
He
attack.
was probably in a hospital when it happened. Heart failure.
I think the heart attack just happens, and yes, heart failure. You can be told.
You know it's coming.
Your heart's just gonna slowly fade away.
Yeah, it's too weak to pump the blood around your body. Hey! You know these guys? Mike, are you familiar at all? Devo was great. You have Whip It? I have Whip It over here somewhere.
You got Whip It?
Anywly, it's weird. I'm sitting
I was
here with a
doing
bunch of
Whippets
young
last
kids.
night.
Yeah, hey.
It didn't seem to me that Devo was a collection, a collection of individuals. It just seemed like a group.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew Mark Mothersbaugh, that name, but I didn't really know who any of the other people were in the band.
Hold on. He's trying to tell me something.
I
If
know,
you're
so I
gonna
was
play-
trying to talk while you
but I
were.
can't
I was just
understand.
gonna say, if you're gonna play something off the computer, mute your Ustream.
Oh, very good. I don't have Ustream up. I've learned my lesson. Weaker and weaker and weaker.
There it
and
is.
Can't pump.
Lesson
All right,
learned.
shut
See,
up.
I was trying to be
Hey,
professional. I was trying
you
to
were
keep the
doing
show
the right thing.
going.
I know.
So Mike could have responded. You didn't have to
We
respond.
were
Somehow.
we were about to take over this convo.
Yeah, we could have done it. You got to trust us. We
I
can
do
do
have
it.
to learn to trust you guys.
Yeah. You want to do it again? You're busy?
Move ahead. Try to detect it. It's not too late to whip it.
No, Mark Mothers Bra, is it?
Mothersbaugh.
Mothersbaugh. And this guy, Bob Casal,
You must whip it.
they met in some sort of art school or something, and they decided to put this together, and this was radical at the time.
With
The
their
sound-
hats? With their weird hats?
Well, I mean, it was when you're coming out of the 70s, you got to understand, everybody laughs at the 80s now because they were pretty ridiculous. But for the people, I was 15 in 79, 16 in 80, the 70s were such a drag to people my age. Every rock show you went to had a 20-minute drum solo, and then the guitarist did a 15-minute solo.
What about
and
disco?
everything was about, well, I skipped disco. I
Yeah.
was anti-disco. So in the
Yeah,
rock and roll,
man.
I was anti-disco. Blow up those records.
Right.
It's,
No guitars, no fun, man.
So when it was a total shift when guys came in. That's why you got to understand the skinny tie in relation to bell bottoms. It was
Right,
a
it was a
reaction.
response. Yeah.
Everything everything flared. The drum solos were 15 minutes long, and then these guys came in, the Talking Heads and a few other people, and did these sort of succinct songs that were very modern sounding and new sounding, but they were about as long as songs from 1957 or something. They were more like these sort of 3-minute, 4-minute pop songs, rather than Yes putting out an album that both
Right.
sides are one song.
And they were one of the first to actually put an emphasis on the visual part of it too. It was the music, but
Yeah, I mean,
they were really into the visual.
If you look up that video for Satisfaction, I mean, it's 1980 or whatever. They're probably making it in 1979, and the production value is as laughable as what you'd think of from a 1980 video, but it's already interesting and funny because of the content and what they're using. They were always very funny, and it's too bad. But you have to die. They're 61. He was 61, and these are the things, by the way, that make you feel as if you're aging. You guys are just getting into your early 30s, but you'll look up.
I look at Eddie
You'll look
Vedder
up,
and
yeah.
I weep every night.
No, you'll look
Man,
up and you'll see. I'm
look
trying
at
to
those
think of-
wrinkles.
He weeps on stage. That's how he sings.
Some point you'll look up and Justin Bieber will look old. I'm not saying that he's your cup of tea or anything. I'm just
you
saying
mean Beezy?
he's part of your life, right?
Beezy.
He's part of your pop culture life.
Absolutely,
You'll
yeah.
look up one day and you'll see that he's aging, and you'll think to yourself, well, I must be aging as well. And that's what, so when I hear about people in Devo, that for a long time they tried to tell people it's Devo. Don't say Devo, it's Devo.
Well, the name,
Bell
the
Biv
evolution,
DeVoe.
but they went to Kent State. That's where they met.
Right.
And the Kent State shootings happened. And that was a commentary on the shootings, how mankind was
Oh,
De-evolving.
devolving.
Uh,
Is it de-evolving or is it devolving?
devolving.
I think
Okay.
it's devolving.
If you put the hyphen in there. de-evolving.
Right.
Can somebody explain the phrase? And this is completely off base.
Sure.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
What
Makes sense.
No, it doesn't. Because extraordinary to me is like it's so ordinary. It's extremely ordinary.
It's mundane.
Yeah, it's beyond ordinary.
I think they mean in inflated terms.
I mean, I get it.
Autumn?
But it's stupid.
I know. I'm looking it up.
She's looking it up in her brain because she's a teacher, and that's where that's supposed to live.
Well, she's a wordy word person. It's all about words to her.
Love it.
Hey, we got a good show. We'll do things a little different today. We got Nick Cellini, who used to be here in Atlanta on 790 doing sports. It was a sports station. And as radio shows go, they did a bit that pissed people off, and now he's sitting.
What, he spoke his mind on the topic?
They did a comedy bit that people didn't like, but he apologized for it and everything. But you know how radio is. Let me tell you something about radio. Okay, I was talking to Nick about this yesterday. This has been my experience because we were thrown off the air twice. When you get jobs at these places, the radio guys, the guys behind the scenes, are always wanting you to push the envelope. We don't want boring people on the air. They're always pushing you and pushing you. Get closer to the edge, closer to the edge.
Just don't open the envelope all the way up.
You take one step off that ledge and you look back for support, and they're like, I never met the guy. I don't know what he's about. I don't know that. I've been kicked off the air for material that my program director told me I had to run the next day.
There was evidence.
Yeah.
The first time you guys got kicked off the air for the backwards audio that went out forward.
Yeah, there was evidence of the program director
on air
giving permission, and before that investigation ended, that evidence
was
somehow
missing. I went to look for it.
mysteriously
I was sent to look for it by
disappeared.
corporate.
Right.
It was missing. I found out a deal was cut later on by two guys. We protect each other.
Oh God.
Let's get
It was
rid
like
of this.
the old Soviet Union. That bit never happened. So he ended up in that thing, and so he's on his non-compete, just like I'm on my non-compete. And
so this just happened?
No, it happened months ago.
I mean, recently.
Recently,
like
yeah. So Nick Cellini is going to be on the 10 o'clock hour. And not only is he going to do some sports for us, he is also going to tell us about his adventures as an Uber driver. Apparently, in the meanwhile, he's been driving for Uber, which, if you don't know, is explain it, Greg. What is Uber? It's a taxi cab service done by people, right? How does it work?
Yeah, you go on your app and you schedule your pickup point and your time, and then
just a guy down the street comes and picks you up in his car.
He comes in his Honda CR-V, and you jump in.
But it's nice though that you review the drivers and the drivers review you.
Right.
So other drivers, if they find out that you're like you threw up in the back of the car, maybe some people will be less likely to come get you.
Yeah, but what are the odds you always throw up in the back of the car?
That should be your thing.
Yeah.
Every review threw up in the car.
You know, it would be a great great Uber cars if you just get like a van that you just plastic the inside and call it the puke Uber.
Yeah.
Uber puke. It's like anyone
Uber
does.
You charge more for that one. That's the specialized
2:30
one.
in the morning,
That's
starting
right.
on Friday
Request
night.
it.
Or Saturday morning.
I took it home last night. That's how I got home from the bath.
The bad.
Did you let go of your lunch at all as a result of
No.
last night?
I don't throw
dinner?
up. I don't throw up.
Oh, really? That's it's a point of pride.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's
I
so
only-
great to throw up.
It
though.
is. The only times I've ever
hate
had to do that is if I force myself. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you get so drunk,
was-
you're just like, this needs to end. I gotta
See,
get
I'm
this
not
out
like
of
that
my
at
body.
all. I will fight.
No way.
Vomit.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
will lay on the ground, stare at the ceiling, anything to not do it because. And I know I've talked about this before, but it's always a huge event for me.
Right.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely,
have a get rid of the kids and go back and play kind of thing. It's always huge lump in my throat. I need recovery time of 8 hours after I do it.
I bet I could do it or would do it more frequently if it wasn't so loud.
Oh,
Because I don't. It's not. I can't just be like. Bleh, bleh. Like I can see people do that. I'm like, I'm so jealous of your puke.
I got
right now.
car sick on the way to a Flaming Lips show in North Carolina once with my buddies. We got into and I
Did you
I
smoke
was
too much
sick.
pot? You were drinking. And
No,
smoking
no,
pot?
No, he
No,
realized
you know
he
what I
was
did?
driving out of state to see Flaming Lips.
No.
And he's like, oh God, I can't believe this.
Bunch of my buddies got
Wrong.
together, and we were.
love
One of my
Flaming
buddies
Lips.
lives in South Carolina, so we let's go see the Flaming Lips. They're in Raleigh. So we went to see the show. I realized that I'm feeling sick about 10 minutes into the car ride that lasted an hour and a half. So by the time we get to the parking garage, I just tell my buddies, "Get away, go." I open the door, and not only because I'm always loud. This is me every time. It's always it's like that, but I'm in a concrete thing,
Oh my
and
God.
the echo is absolutely astonishing. My friends are running out of there like, I do not know this. But you know what I was sick on? I had maybe just a couple of beers that day. It was a hot
Sour
day.
diesel,
No.
bro.
It was, you know how much my love for circus peanuts. And this has hampered it a bit, as per our conversation before. I was eating. My friends always get me circus peanuts when we get together. It's kind of a little joke. He likes circus peanuts. Nobody else in the world does. I'm eating the circus peanuts, drinking beer, and then before I left, I popped 4 Excedrins. And four, because it was a big night, and I didn't want to have a headache, and I felt one coming on. I'm like, boom, and the mixture of those circus peanuts and the Excedrin, I mean, that was all orange on that basement garage floor.
I vomited pink once in first grade from the Flintstones chewable vitamins that I'd taken. It's very embarrassing. It's embarrassing enough to throw up in front of people, but
right.
It was pink.
The best throw up I've ever had was being hungover and eating Lucky Charms in the morning and then throwing those up. It was so sweet. It was wasn't too bad to throw that up.
It was a very pleasant kind of thing.
It was.
It was magically delicious.
It was. I found the extraordinary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the X is Latin for out of. So it's like just
beyond
like
the ordinary.
Right, beyond the ordinary. Just like we say extraterrestrial.
What's the tra? Extraordinary.
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 The tra is just thrown
This
into.
tea is extraordinary.
I'm not sure.
That makes sense, though. Extraterrestrial is outside of the earth.
Of the, yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. We don't actually have to explain it properly.
Tra. I don't know the tra.
Well, it's 35 minutes in. Autumn, it's about time for me to turn to you and ask this.
Have you talked about Patreon?
What?
Yeah.
Have you done Patreon?
Tell us about
I'll do Patreon if people will allow me to do Patreon.
Patreon.
and Not
So is it
mess with
Patreon
me.
or is it news?
It's
Let's
got to
do
be.
some
We do
Patreon.
Patreon first and then the news.
All right. I would like to take this time to thank everyone who has committed to invest with us at patreon.com. Do you have $10 a month to try to change radio as we know it? I don't know if we can change radio, but what we can do is we can build something right here that's not corporate, is all about fun, is all about entertainment, and we want to build this to be bigger. Am I right? We want to be in a bigger studio. We want to have better cameras. We want to get a compressor. We want to stop popping our peas. All of these things cost money, and you can be a part of it. Now, here's the deal. If you never give a dime, every show ever done on Eric Von Radio will be free, will always be available. What I'm talking about is, if you've been bitching and moaning about the state of radio, my question is, can you afford to be a part of it? Get a room, Michael, with your sneezing over
Trying
there.
to be nice about it. You told me I can't leave.
We can get Michael a shot so that he's not allergic to my cats, and he can come in and do the show without sneezing all day long. This man needs your help. Go to patreon.com, Eric Von Radio. There are different levels there, $10, $25, $50, $100. Anybody who commits and goes into business with us will have their name on the credits that run at the end of every show. And I don't care if we get up to 500 people. We'll put on 3 rock songs, and we'll run those credits. And the world will know. You're also on our wall of fame at ericvonradio.com for everyone to know that you help produce what we do here at Eric Von Radio. We're very proud of what we're doing, and we want you to go into business with us. And together, we can change radio as we know it. I love that music, actually.
That was a good pitch. I was going to say, you channeled the energy.
Patreon.com.
Dance break.
Patreon.com. Patreon.com. Go there. Give
Go
some
there.
money to Eric. Eric. Hey, I didn't ask that question. Pull it back.
I'm driving this show.
That's right. It's time for the news. What do you want to know, Eric?
It's time for the news. Autumn, what's in the news?
There's been a coup d'etat.
Coup d'etat.
The face you made me so happy.
What's in the news?
You want to talk about Ukraine? All
I
of this
do.
violence in Ukraine.
Well, this is what but first of all, it's Ukraine and not the Ukraine, so I give you props for not. It's
That's
like
right.
Eurythmics, Ukraine with no the.
The Ukraine is.
No, I wanted to bring this up because Ukraine is on fire, and Thailand's on fire. So the Ukraine, Thailand's on fire. Syria's blowing up again. Venezuela, there are people in the streets throwing Molotov cocktails. Why? Because they have no toilet paper. They've got toilet paper in their hands. So here's what Ukraine sounds like. I want to bring this up because nobody in America knows that this is going on. And I want to talk about the absolute ridiculous stupid entity that Fox News has become. All right, I used to watch Fox News. Now I only watch one show. I watch the 5 sometimes. It's kind of entertaining. But Fox News has become so obsessed with Barack Obama and Obamacare that yesterday I tuned in at the end of the 5 special report starts, a show that I watched for 15 years that has become absolutely unwatchable because they start every show with breaking news about Obamacare, which isn't even possible to have breaking news at this point about Obamacare. We all know what it is. We've all made up our mind. We're all on one side or the other. Yesterday, the 5 ends and special report starts, and they've got in 4 corners the riots going on in Ukraine, the riots going on in Thailand, the riots going on in Venezuela, the trouble in Syria. They've got the world, and they're acting like the world blew up overnight. The world didn't blow up overnight.
They just stopped paying attention.
All of these things have been going on since the last 3 or 4 months, and CNN and Fox News, they don't care about anything but Barack frickin' Obama. It's the only you got 24 hours of news and you get nothing about this. These people in the Ukraine have been in the streets. Does anyone know why they're in the streets? Without reading the story.
Sorry, I need to interrupt. There's breaking news. Obamacare. Different prices depending on the state you live in.
Yeah. It turns out more people pissed about Obamacare.
Is apathy a state?
Apathy is a state. You know why these people are in the streets and have been in the streets for 3-4 months?
No.
Because they want to be part of the West. And the president of Ukraine wants to stick with Russia. It would seem to me that we have some skin in this game. If Ukraine, which was one of the most important parts of the Soviet Union, if their people have been in the streets demanding to be a part of the West, to be a part of Europe, to be a part of the European Union, you would think that that might interest us here. But no, it turns out that Fox News found 2 more old people in the Midwest who are upset about Obamacare. So that's our breaking news for the last 4 months.
I guess they feel like it's on our doorstep, so they don't want to talk about something that's foreign.
No, because news is not news anymore.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that that's what their thinking is, right? Is that this is on your doorstep, this is outside, happening to you, your grandparents.
I'll tell you what their thinking is. Fox News. Yes, Greg.
Breaking news, 2 old people in the Midwest have finally figured out their feelings on Obamacare.
They don't like the new rates, apparently.
Let's go to
Hey,
Barbara.
give me a sounder. I want a sounder.
It's your
Give me the
nose
breaking
blow.
news. Breaking news, Eric. Justin Bieber is signing a lease today.
Oh, really? Now, see, at least that's real breaking news. That's real breaking news.
Excuse me, we need to interrupt this report
Yes.
on Justin Bieber's lease signing to let you know that Justin Bieber is not a fan of Obamacare.
Apparently, even
I got
he
one.
found that his rates went up and he wasn't able to keep his doctor.
Oh,
Breaking news,
What?
Eric.
Huh?
I just made up that Justin Bieber story.
So the breaking news was false?
Well, it broke twice. So I had to make sure we got in there to make sure you were aware of it.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not just Fox News, it's all of them. Right. And I tried for a long time. I said, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to go to BBC because they report world news, and I want to know what's going on in the world. Because Venezuela is important to us, too. The fact that the people, that government is hostile to America, and the people are in the streets against the government. These things are important. You got people in the streets in 2 places that want to be closer to America, and all we have is breaking news sounders about how people still don't like Obamacare. Right. Fox News was always from the right. I never had a problem with that. It used to make me laugh that liberals got so upset about Fox News because, quite frankly, in the America I grew up in, all news was liberal, and there were conservatives, and they had 0 voice. So I thought, what the hell? It's okay to have, they lean right. Everything else leans left. They lean right. That's cool. I know it going in. The reportage is usually pretty good. But a few years ago, they just switched it to everything that Fox News does now is about winning the midterm elections 2014. They are trying to get the Senate in the hands of the Republicans. They don't really have to fear about losing the House. And so you have to watch Fox News with that in mind. It's an agenda. And whenever you have an agenda, whenever you have a mission, you are not news anymore. This is what I used to tell Larry back at the old show all the time. Always on the agenda, always on the mission. You should vote this way. And I would say, if you're on a mission, you're not a comedy show anymore. You're not an entertainment show anymore. I don't want to be Sean Hannity, but that's a whole different thing. And so this is what I'm pissed off about. I went to the BBC boring. I mean, so boring.
The boring broadcast network.
I mean, but it's too boring. It's too dry. It's not interesting enough. Just give me the news. Somebody. I read for my news now. I read Wall Street Journal, read sometimes Washington Post, other things that are online. The 24-hour news networks are 24 hours, and they're networks, but there's no news. It's all agenda-driven.
Yeah. Are you surprised by this?
It happened. It's gotten to the point now with Fox that it's blindingly apparent. It used to be with Fox that you knew they were coming from the right, like I said, and it's fine.
But maybe there was more variety.
There was, and when Special Report was a great show with Brit Hume, and this guy Brett Baer has just run it into the ground. I mean, it's nothing but GOP talking points for the day, and so they start each one off with, the kind of stories you get in your Twitter from the most right-wing people. It's just, this is important. It's a small thing that a few people are worried about. It's not breaking news, and it's not headline news. The fact that people have been in the streets in Ukraine demanding to be a part of the West, putting their lives on the line, I mean, it's absurd that now Fox News discovers this. You got to have a fire. Oh, well, now it looks cool on video. Things are on fire. We'll show it now. Look what just happened overnight for the last 5 months. Absurd. Anyway, next story.
So on Fox, though, do they explain why the riots are happening, or do they just say that there's commotion going on?
Fox actually has a couple of very good foreign reporters, not foreign born, but reporters who report on military affairs and foreign policy. And when they do it, these reporters do a very good job. But God, that Special Report, it's so sad. It was such a great show that has just been turned into this GOP talking points crap. Anyway.
You should write a strongly worded letter.
I think I should. I think I just did.
I think so too.
Somebody can split that out. With the Ustream, people can go in and edit. They're called highlights or something like that. And you as a viewer can go to Ustream and decide to edit video out. And so if somebody wants that to be my open letter to Fox News, they can just sort of edit it and highlight it.
All right. That's your mission. Hashtag
I'm going to get real wordy, but I'm not going to spend much time on it.
I'm going to let someone else do it. Yeah, you guys go out there and do the job. Anyway, I'm sure Brett Baer's a nice guy, but it's just awful. He's ruined that show. Next story.
Well, I thought maybe something a little bit lighter. An Oregon company is selling Edward Snowden action figures.
That's a little lighter.
Yeah.
Edward Snowden, that traitor.
That's MyFace.com is marketing a 12-inch likeness of the former National Security Agency contractor for $99. It comes dressed in a blue shirt, casual trousers, black high-top basketball shoes, gray striped business suit, Indiana Jones and combat uniform options are
Does it feature that
available.
mole? Does that mole featured prominently?
Definitely.
That doesn't sound like the kind of outfit you should be wearing if you're snowed in.
You did.
I love the wordplay, and you torture me. Edward Snowden. How do you feel about Edward Snowden? Do you kids even care?
I don't care.
You don't care.
Do you want my real opinion?
You don't care.
He's my hero.
So what? That's how we.
I think it's great.
I think
you think it's great that he takes military secrets because you believe you should live in a society where the government has zero secrets.
No. I think that what he did, he spent time trying to warn the government. It's like a movie. This is like a Jason Bourne movie or something. I'm not familiar very well with but it's a very.
It seems like
it's like a movie. Though. He spent a lot of time trying to tell these officials and these people that these secrets are unguarded, and it's very easy to get in, and they paid him no mind and no attention when he said, this is too easy to hack, this is going to be a problem, and he went, all right, you know what, fuck you,
I'll be
here it is,
I'll be a treason.
I warned you,
I'll be treasonous,
because it could have been somebody else and a lot worse could have happened, and now all of a sudden, what do you mean this is available, and now he's a traitor.
Yeah.
I find him to be.
How many good people who wake up every day trying to protect you are dead now because they're in some foreign country undercover, and now they've been exposed?
I don't know. That's never been
through Edward Snowden.
Nobody knows.
Because you know why? Because the CIA doesn't do press releases about that. But you can damn well expect that if it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen again. Also, here's the thing about Edward Snowden: he's not a whistleblower. You can be on his side, but to call him a whistleblower is absolutely incorrect. He was against the Bush-Cheney doctrine before he took the job. He took that job in that particular location because he knew it was vulnerable. He took the job knowing what he wanted to do. A whistleblower has a job. and believes the job is doing good, and while they're there, they find out that they're doing something that they think is bad, and they blow the whistle. They blow the whistle. A whistleblower is not somebody who takes a job to expose something. So he's not a whistleblower, and so it's okay if you don't like the way the government's being run to just expose all of our secrets, or are we saying that we should live in a society that has no secrets? Is that what we're trying to achieve?
I mean, I kind of wish that we knew if aliens existed, if that's what you're asking.
Well,
I think a lot of secrets that they're keeping are ridiculous to keep.
Well, aliens don't exist. I can tell you that right now, and we can move on.
You mean they?
Do we?
I mean, aliens,
coming
spaceship
to Earth.
aliens don't
Coming
exist.
to Earth.
What do you mean
Really?
they don't exist?
They don't
at
exist.
all?
What are you talking
Anywhere
about?
out there?
No, coming to Earth is
They
what you
can't
mean.
come to Earth.
No,
You
okay,
know
they
anything
don't
about
come to Earth.
physics,
I'm not.
You
Yes,
can't
that's
come
fine.
to Earth.
No, we're
You just said they
asking-
didn't exist. That's all.
Ever in the
Somewhere out there. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they visit.
Spaceships have never landed on the Earth.
Okay,
let's put
I
it that
agree.
way.
I agree.
That weren't sent from the Earth and come back. It's not possible if you know anything about relativity and things like this. You can't fly
Things
a
like this.
spaceship. Things like this,
I know,
such
you
as
love
these.
it.
I know I say that a lot. I've noticed.
Why can't you fly spaceships?
Because you'd have to go at the things are so
Controls
far
are so
away.
hard to
You'd
figure
have to
out.
go at the speed of light to go
Okay.
anywhere.
Okay.
And the more you go at the speed of light, the more that you expand, which slows you down. So you can't really go to the speed
What
of
about
light.
interdimensionally?
You can't. The only way you could travel like that is the Star Trek way. Is
Yeah.
to sort of atomize yourself and then reform somewhere else.
And you're suggesting
you can't
that
physically fly at
One,
the speed
if
of
both
light.
things what you're saying are true, you and me and people can't physically go at the speed of light.
Right.
But what's to say that another advanced civilization can't?
Matter can't fly, so
That's-
they can't
well,
be in a spaceship that is matter.
Listen,
Wait,
put
what
it in
about-
small terms.
Even if you're going at the speed
Greg,
of light,
you
the
know I'm
distance.
right.
Even if you're going at the speed of light, the distances are so great. It's
No,
kinda
that's why you have to
ridiculous.
go
who says
through.
they're that great? Who's
Just across the Milky Way itself, our galaxy, 100,000 years to go from one side to the other at the speed
at the
of light.
speed of light. And that's
you're only
one of
talking about
145
physics and relativity based on what we know on Earth. Like that, you got to understand. Like
No,
that's like
this
that's like
is
saying it's
beyond
impossible.
Earth. This is more than
Nothing
Earth.
can survive at the bottom of the deepest depths of the ocean because the pressure would kill you.
No,
well,
no.
there are things that
No,
live and have
I know,
adapted
but
down there.
Physics cannot be mutated. I mean, it's you cannot fly matter at the speed of light without it expanding. As it expands, it creates drag, so you can never actually get to the speed of light.
But who's to suggest that there isn't a civilization or a being out there
They
that
figured out how to make
or
matter.
that doesn't have to fly at the speed of light? Maybe they're just cruising along, and then that's their whole civilization.
How
is
long do
these
they
flying
live? 9
spaceships.
billion years?
Who knows? You don't know that. Nobody knows that. That's all speculation based on the
coming
highest
down.
amount of math and physics that we know as a civilization.
Saucers coming. First of all, if you really delve into physics and what we know, it makes science fiction look like pulp fiction. I mean,
Well, if you get
what
to the
we really
quantum
know
level.
about the universe is
Watchable? Is that what you mean?
much more fascinating than science fiction. Even there's a lot of weirdness out there that these same people are getting to. But the theory of relativity has held up pretty damn well since it made its appearance at the beginning of the 20th century. So I don't think that you can say that those laws don't apply.
Let's say they were just
somewhere
traveling
else.
along.
Absolutely
Maybe
do.
their civilization.
Light doesn't stop traveling.
If their
Light doesn't-
civilization
hold on,
was-
hold on.
Why do you have
Cole.
to travel the speed of light,
No,
though? That's
because
you're
you-
putting that
All right.
that requirement.
What Greg just said. You can't get anywhere if you,
You
don't travel.
can't.
No, what
No,
I
but
don't
what do you-
understand.
The
what-
distance is still the same.
Are we talking?
Mike.
Yeah, you can't go faster than the speed of light. Is that true?
Nothing. can
No.
go
Nothing can go faster.
Except
than
for
the
the
speed of
universe itself. The universe expands faster than the speed of light. Otherwise, light would bump up in the end.
Right,
so
right.
The universe expands quicker than the speed of light. But that's it.
light.
Nothing
but
inside the
but
universe.
what you're trying to say that maybe that there's another way of like a different type of physics for a different type of being.
So I mean, I think it's
No, the
ridiculous
physics
to
of-
assume that nobody else can either fly at the speed of light, nothing can fly at the speed of light, or that they can't fly or travel just behind the speed of light.
Even if you can, it doesn't matter. It's just
Right.
the
You're not going to
distances
get
are
anywhere.
too bad.
You're not going to get anywhere. What is the closest? The closest star is 4 light years, right? Right, something like that's the
But also-
closest star. It would take at the speed of light. By the way, Michael, follow me here, okay? The speed of light would get you from that chair to the moon in what? A second and a half? So going
4.24 light years is the closest star.
Okay, so it would
Alpha
get-
Centauri.
from
But
that.
why are
no,
you
no, no,
only
no, no,
assuming
hold
that
on.
that's the
From that-
closest
wait, listen to me.
other
Listen,
creep
can I
being,
please
other
listen to
civilization?
me. From that chair to the moon in about a second and a half at the speed of light. Flying.
I think
that,
I finally
It's
puked.
8 minutes from the sun.
finally, flying at that speed from here to the moon in a second and a half, it would take you 100,000 years to fly across our Milky Way galaxy, which is one of 145 billion known galaxies. And I'm not done. I'm not done.
I can tell your hands are flailing.
If you took all of the
spit is
galaxies
flying.
that are all these 145 billion, smashed them together in one place, they would represent 7% of the universe. That's how much space is between them.
called space for a
There's only-
reason.
most space is empty. So you cannot get anywhere just putting along in your station wagon. It's not going to happen. You've got to fly at the speed of light to have a chance. And it would take you 4.5 years to get to the nearest star.
Counterpoint, Mike.
Why are you suggesting that that a star is the only civilization that can get here either? Saying everything you're saying, let's assume it's true.
Let's
And
assume.
based in science, let's call it true. Why do you think that we have to go 4 billion light years away to find somebody to travel here? How come you don't know there's somebody on a moon of Saturn? Like there could be civilizations in our own galaxy, in our own solar system.
You don't think that we'd notice if they had
Yeah, why
flight?
wouldn't we have seen them by now?
If they had flight,
At that point,
you
we've
don't-
We
explored-
have. You don't
we've
see the video?
Oh,
Ancient
my
aliens.
God.
Watch the goddamn television.
Thank you,
Ancient
thank you,
aliens.
History Channel, for abandoning history
Yeah.
and creating a world of speculation.
I was going to say there was a point that Michael brought up. If maybe they just existed on a spaceship and kept procreating on there, traveling through
Right.
space. If I got to another planet, I wouldn't leave right away because they seem to just land, hang out for a little bit, then leave.
Yeah.
I would. I don't know.
Yeah, why
we
would
made
they
it.
stick
Let's
around? Why would
hang
they
out
take-
here. I'm tired of being in space.
And I'm going to tell you this.
I wanna stretch.
I'm so annoyed by this whole concept of, well, who else could have built the pyramids? If a civilization could fly at the speed of light,
They'd be better
and
than the
get here,
pyramids.
it'd look like the Empire State Building. It wouldn't look like some rock rubble the way that it looks now. It would look like the most modern building you've ever seen.
And it
They
does,
didn't, you know-
and it is funny to think that the people back then, they weren't as smart, so they couldn't figure this out.
Right.
When they have the same mind as we do.
Yes.
It's just a different time
There's
period
time
with
period-
less
well, no,
technology.
and they did-
but they figured
didn't
it
know.
out, just
Right.
like we have figured things out
That's
with
right.
our minimal
There
resources.
have never, ever been spaceships that have landed
Can you
on
say that
planet
100,
In your
100%?
opinion.
100%.
Now, you've said before, scientists shouldn't say that they definitely know.
It is
100%.
a 99
There you
point.
go.
No.
That's not
Yeah.
a real number, scientist.
Oh, they're all numbers. All right. You know what? We got through. Let's try to do one more story.
I think
We'll
we
go
can
to
all.
Nick
I
Chili.
think we can wrap
got-
that up in a bow. That just means that Eric's wrong.
Yes,
and I'm
I think
right.
so. I
What if you
think
take
that's
how I
ayahuasca?
was
What
feeling
if you
when
take
I
ayahuasca?
You know,
maybe you
originally-
can soar through the universe faster
I don't
than
know what
the
that
speed of-
is.
It's that root that makes you super high. It's a
Ayahuasca,
shaman
Yeah,
drug.
it's like a soul cleansing
Yeah,
drug.
Yeah, it's just what I want. I want to be, mental for the rest of my life because I want
no,
one
it
drug
lasts.
trip.
It's really weird. You think it lasts for days and days, but really it lasts for like 20 minutes. It's
Yeah,
insane.
I'm not interested in that kind of high. I don't want to get so far out of things
Yeah.
that I don't even know
People
what's
say
going
it's really
on.
scary. They fly through
Yeah.
space and they
I don't wanna
really
fly.
feel like they're flying. And
But
it's
look it up.
I don't even like
terrifying.
flying to New York.
The people that come out afterwards, I
Yeah.
don't think any of them said that their lives have not changed for the better.
Yeah.
That they
Oh, you mean they see-
everything comes into perspective.
Well, that's what tri-
moving
And they always
forward,
see a
yeah.
snake.
Yeah.
Well, I think because look,
'Cause demons.
look,
'Cause
we
demons.
should we should do a whole
We will.
Let's table this for another special
yeah, yeah.
show or something
right.
where we can come in. I'll bring my roommate Gilbert in, who's who's my shaman of
We need to do
aliens
special
and
shows
technology.
in March because I'm going to South by Southwest for like 3 days. So maybe along the way we'll make some special shows, theme shows that
Are
we
you
can
going?
run.
You're going just to check it out?
I'm going with the band, with Driving and Crying.
Oh, cool! I can't
Yeah.
wait to go. Thanks for inviting me.
You want to come?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out a way to get the show there, like finding a Radio Row and a sponsor.
I can do
Yeah.
shows. We
there.
could work that out. Yeah.
You want? Well, if I can get a sponsor that would say, "Yeah, we'll send you," then we could do the shows from there. But if we can't do that, then we
Play
have to do
the
special shows.
Patreon music while you ask for this.
And do you want me to go to Austin, Texas, and have a good time?
On your dime.
No, I'd like to get a sponsor. I'd like to get, but you know how I am. I've got all these advertisers circling around me.
Yeah.
Eric, we love you. But I'm waiting for them to tell me how much money they want to give me. I'm not, I've always done this side of things. I have not done the sales side of things. And I know nothing about it. And I don't like to do things that I'm not good at this age. I figure I'm never going to be good at that. I've never done sales. And so I go to meetings with people and we talk and and it's great and it's fantastic and you've got money and I need money and hey, that was a great lunch and nothing happens because I'm terrible at
Because they're
it.
waiting for you.
Trying
right?
to get my friend Patrick Best to help me. He knows how to do this kind of stuff.
Patrick
I don't-
Best from the Sunday paper?
Yeah, I don't like I don't like asking for money.
That paper, how'd that paper fold? They
I'll tell you
used
why.
to publish my great writings.
That's right.
No, you know why?
My brilliant insight
tell you what, they
on how the
folded.
planet Jupiter scares me.
Hey, don't go after the great Patrick Best. That's Sunday paper. At least there
I'm
was
grateful.
something.
He's
At
saying
least,
about
I'm grateful
himself.
for it.
at least
I
there's
was
some.
more self.
By the way, he published you
there.
because you were a friend of mine, probably more than anything.
Oh,
but
not because it was
no, brilliant.
good. Yeah.
What did you write about waffles or something? I know you
No,
at that
Jupiter.
time. Oh, right.
And
okay.
grocery stores.
No, the guy was never published.
No, when the real estate collapse happened, a lot of their advertising was real estate, and so that affected them greatly. But that was a great paper, and the town always needed something to go up against Creative Loafing, and now again, Creative Loafing is out there by themselves. So it's always good to have a competing paper. But then I guess other things changed too. Now papers aren't even. Creative
Right.
Loafing weighs half an ounce with its advertising. I don't know how it stays.
And I just searched for the crossword puzzle.
I just go for the porn at the back.
Yeah.
You
Get
want
him
to
a massage.
before we get to Nick, and we're running a little bit late. We have one more story. Isn't Justin Bieber doing something? I always like to have either
Oh, no.
no Justin Bieber.
Oh, we can
I
talk
thought
about
it was-
Kim Kardashian.
Oh,
if you
okay,
want,
I don't know.
you said something light,
Something
I
light.
have a really light one.
I was trying to think of Justin Bieber. Oh, you want to talk about the clowns?
Well, you can.
No, I heard about this. It's a
I don't
clown
want to
shortage.
There's a clown. Hey, can I get a sounder, please?
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. National clown shortage may be approaching. Trade organizations fear. The Ringling Brothers Bar and Bailey Circus returns to Brooklyn Thursday. Membership of the country's largest clown organization is plunged
Yes,
over the past decade.
this is good news.
This is the Kipper.
News.
Amid
he
declining.
hates the Kimmer.
Is it Kimmer or
It's the
Kipper or
Kimmer.
is it just
It's
D-bag?
Kimmer.
It's just the worst.
He's got that boss radio
I don't know him.
thing.
I don't.
He's
It's not
old
as
school.
it's-
Old school radio.
he's a
It's
nice
not
guy.
old. There's a reason it's old school because he's
Right.
dead.
He's a nice guy.
He actually did almost die. Didn't his heart just explode?
Yeah, he got the job. He was out of radio for 5-6 years.
Listen to this. Okay, but there's clowns. Can you believe it?
And
It's already funny because clowns.
He,
Nobody's laughing. Whatever your stupid name is.
He does chuckle quite a bit.
It's
But
not-
he was out of radio for 5-6 years.
With
and
reason.
And they brought him back, and he had a heart attack like 3 days after.
He's got pictures on somebody because nobody's voluntarily tuning
He
into
has
that
a
show,
fan
except
base.
for me. Just 'cause
Why
I-
do you find this hard to believe? He has a fan base.
It's not as hard. Look, I don't know the guy's probably a sweet guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's the show. I don't know
I
anything
consider
about
him
it.
a
I just
friend.
tune in every now and again. I'm like, this sucks so bad, and I turn it off.
It's a different style. It's kind of that boss radio 1960s, sort of music radio kind of tone that he takes. But
Yeah.
we have a lot of friends on his show, so be kind. This clown shortage, tell us.
Yeah, they're just saying that at membership at I guess it's the Ringling Brothers, like the clowns that register as members of the National Clown, whatever they are.
They have less people being
Yeah, it's
started.
plunged over the past few decades.
They have numbers? Back that up?
I don't see any, and I just heard about it this morning, so I just started looking up when I got here. But
I think this
yeah.
is good news. I saw a thing last night on the television about it, and you know what? Kids now, I think
Kids
that-
these days.
Well, no, but I mean honestly, having had children grow up in this internet age and everything, I just don't think you've got that innocence very long where a grown up in funny clothes and a red nose is going to entertain you. These people are they're playing hardcore videos.
Visual gag.
They're playing
They're saying that there's too many.
hardcore videos at 4 now. Clowns are not going to make it at a birthday
There's a
party.
declining interest.
Hey!
Too
Tell me all about it.
Too many of them.
Eric.
Take it off.
We need clown music.
See, look, you're doing an impression of the Kipper or whatever. Kimmer.
Kimmer, why do you find it so
The Kimmer,
difficult to-
the Kipper does wear a clown nose during the show. That's his signature.
Oh my God, breathing this in is like putting a new shower curtain on your nose. I'm
Declining interest. Old clowns are dying faster than new ones are joining, and they said that the found a number here. Membership of the World Clown Association, which is the largest trade group for clowns,
Crowns and clowns.
has dropped from about 3,500 to 2,500 since 2004, and that's a pretty significant drop.
I
would
think it's
say.
an old. I just don't think that clowning is something that children are interested in anymore. I think when my kid was 5 years old, if I brought in a clown, I think that he would look at me and roll his eyes. It's just not. It's not the same. In my day,
My mom used to be a clown. She used to be a party clown when I was
really
a kid. Yeah,
I knew a couple people who are party clowns.
She was good at it
It's
too.
a rough job.
She loved it. My mom's like
But see,
crazy like
now,
that.
so she stopped doing it because I'd be interested to know if kids can be kids. Their
I think it was just a thing
attention
she
span
did.
Isn't what it used to be.
Like a friend of hers had a business, like that's what she did for a living, and my mom was like, "Oh, I'll clown around with you," and she started like
Literally.
putting makeup on, and she was a clown. I don't know. My mom's a goofball.
Yeah, no, it's good. Did she juggle?
No, I juggled though.
Oh, did you go with her?
Do you
I used to be kind of a clown. I used to work doing like magic tricks at parties.
Exciting.
So I
Oh,
was
really?
like, I used to dress up as a Power Ranger.
Why don't you do magic
I
tricks
got
with us?
shanked. I'll do
Yes.
some magic tricks.
Can you do
yeah.
that?
On a radio
Can
show.
you
It's
do?
really
No, but I mean,
I'm pretty good at
really
making my brain cells disappear. Do you want me to
Ah.
come see me do that tonight?
Boom, boom.
I'm kind of sad about this, though. I enjoy clowns. I used to hate clowns, but then it became in vogue to hate clowns.
And then you started to like
yeah,
them.
just because I like to be contrary.
Can I get a
hon-
newser?
I
Give them a
honestly,
breaking
hold on. I honestly, a lot of people say they hated clowns as children, but I really did. And I remember when I was in Memphis, Tennessee, I tell a lot of stories on the show about the 70s. That seems specifically. When I was a kid in Memphis, Tennessee, we went to, it was called, back then it was called Mid-South Coliseum. Now it's that pyramid thing. But we went and saw, I think it was Shriner's Circus. And we were sitting up in the thing, and I'm watching the circus, and I'm enjoying it, and then I feel something on my head, you know? I'm like, I hit it, I smacked it, and then I feel it again, I smacked it again. I turn around, and it's a clown playing on my hair. And I got no response from this 7 or 8 year old or whatever I was. I smacked the hand away and scared the hell out of me.
He was
I
trying
didn't
to
want those things touching
He was
me.
trying to distract you by tickling your hair because he also had his other hand
Something
in your
else
pants.
is going on. While my dad was drunk, sitting next to
Aw.
me with his 15th Shriner's beer. I mean, the Shrine Circus was always the worst. You went because they did good work for children's hospitals, but it wasn't Barnum and Bailey. Ringling Brothers.
This just in, Kate Upton, they released the Victoria's Secret gravity fighting
I saw
bra, and there's nothing bad about this.
There's nothing bad about it. And you know what? In the age of the internet, I'm starting to think I like them like that a little bit better. It's nice that there's a little bit of clothing there. It's almost sexier than the gynecology we get in the internet constantly.
I hope that she doesn't become one of these like Fallout celebrities where all of a sudden she's like losing teeth and becomes a meth addict and
That's never going to happen to Kate Upton.
yeah, but
All
she's
right.
kind of got this Marilyn Monroe kind of thing happening where she's so beautiful.
Is he stealing
and-
your job?
Yeah.
That was
I'm
to
not-
signify the end of news.
I was just goofing
That was
around.
the end of news.
Oh, I thought it was my breaker.
No, what's the,
He had requested a break.
I thought you were giving me a breaking news. I just heard that and I just instantly started yelling the first thing I was looking at.
I'm looking at hot pictures of Kate
No,
Upton.
that's my fault. No.
All right, you squabbling
That's
birds.
why I asked earlier if you wanted to do the story because I was like, do you want to do it? Because you're the
No,
news.
you're excited about the
new-
clown.
One more,
Yeah.
Autumn. We need your closing line.
Circus clothes.
If you'd like some more of this news that we didn't get to,
Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, on.
I'm
Supposed
thrown
to say,
off. I'm
if you
thrown
want
off.
to see the stories we got
I'm
to and the
sorry.
stories we didn't get to,
come find us on ericvonradio.com, or you can find us all over the place. Subreddit.
Yeah.
You
I
can
wanna tell
watch the
people,
show.
you know, if you go to ericvonradio.com, obviously a lot of people aren't sitting at their desktops watching the show, but it's a good place to go to find everywhere you can hear us. You know, the only way to
all at the
listen to
top.
the show without video live is Live 365 right now. There's a lot of different places to go, and just ericvonradio.com is a good hub to stop in. Nick Cellini has been waiting patiently. Is he there?
Hold on, we have a sports news intro.
Well, I don't want to do the sports news intro yet because I want to
Oh.
bring him on and talk about Uber
Man.
first, and then in the middle of the Uber conversation,
And then we'll
we'll hit the. I'll
jump the gun. I was
This
excited.
is what we'll do, Greg. I'll
I was
point to you.
excited about that.
And that'll be your cue to then hit that sports
I'm
sounder
ready. I'm
and
ready.
make the debut. Nick Cellini, you there?
Eric, what's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well listening. If I may interject into this clown conversation,
You may.
you and I are about the same age. You're 49, I'm 46. So while it's in vogue to hate clowns, I remember, and I'm sure you remember, John Wayne Gacy was a clown.
Yes, he
so
was.
That's why I had a fear of clowns, because he would pull kids aside and put them in handcuffs and say, "You want to see a magic trick in my crawl space?" So
And that's how he. Yeah.
it's kind of there.
How many people? I mean, there were kids too. It's horrible. How many kids did this John Wayne Gacy kill? Did anybody know? It was a
I
bunch.
guess nobody's ever going to really know because he's no longer with us. But I think they found 15 to 20 kids
Yeah,
buried around his house.
and he lured them in as a clown. Just absolutely disgusting. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I think that was the final nail in my clown coffin as well. So we're on the
Clown
same.
coffin. What are those clown conventions like when they get together?
We should
what
ask-
happens in
we
they
should- we
go
should
to
a-
Vegas or Reno and
And
Hit
they
the
do-
blackjack table. What happened?
They do the same thing that everybody else does. They
Have
whore
sex.
it up. They whore
That's
it up.
man. That's all the conventions are
Are you
for.
kidding
Any
me?
convention ever is about, hey, let's go hang around the convention center, walk around, check some stuff out, and then let's go get blasted
You know what?
and have sex.
Being a clown is actually great in a convention because you take the makeup off, you go do whatever the hell you want. Nobody knows it's you because you've been walking around as a clown the whole time. So I think I'm going into clowning. Nick Cellini, how you been since while you're on your little break from the radio waves?
Yes, is that what we're calling it nowadays? A break from the radio waves.
Yes.
Well, not much. Like you said, trying to earn some extra cash. My wife, thankfully, is the breadwinner in the family, so I'm pretty much driving for Uber and sitting around trying to raise my family while she goes off and works her real job.
Now, Uber, for people who don't know, this is so you basically make yourself available as a taxi. You take your family car and you
Correct.
make yourself available to give people rides from one place to another. And it must be cheaper than taxis, I'm guessing, or
It is.
people wouldn't do it. So,
Yeah, it's much cheaper. I think as soon as you sit down in a taxi, it's like $5 or $6. With
Right.
us, I think that if you go under a mile, it's going to cost you like $6, but it's a lot more cost efficient.
so the
Let's put
further
it
you
that way.
go, the better savings you get compared to a taxi.
Correct.
So-
Absolutely, no doubt about it. So, you get to make your own hours. They give us a smartphone, and when I turn it on and go online, I essentially drive around. There's a heat map, usually Buckhead, Midtown, around Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. Those are the hot spots you want to drive around and try to get some rides in.
So and then basically, if you're doing this enough, I'm guessing that you end up with some weirdos in your car, and it's not like
Well-
go ahead. When you're driving a taxi, you're kind of driving. I guess now people drive their own cars, anyways. But if you're in a yellow taxi in New York City or something like that, it feels more like a business, I would think. So if you get a weirdo in the car, it's like getting a weirdo in the store. But if you're driving an Uber,
You can close the partition at that point if you're the driver.
yeah. But you're just
Right.
kind of you got a passenger who's weird. So anything stand out for you?
Well, one of the first rides I had, I started driving the day before New Year's Eve, so I wanted to kind of get the feel for it. One of my first rides, I picked up a guy in Buckhead. His buddy actually kind of poured him into my car and said, take him to Norcross. While it was a nice fare, this guy's life was beyond, I'm not making this up, beyond a Jerry Springer episode. He came out of the closet. He was gay. He was a drug addict, so he was a flight attendant at Delta Airlines, got fired from that job, was homeless for a while, and then I said, well, what about your family? Did they help you out? He said, well, my mother killed my father. We haven't been able to prove it yet. So it just went on and kind of spiraled out of control from there. And then he said he married one of his best friends who was a female, but it was a marriage convenience. And then she had lung cancer and passed away. So this is, again, one of my first rides. And so you're kind of practicing what you do for a living, or what you and I and everybody else in the room there do for a living. You're trying to interview people and try to make the time pass.
Yeah.
But what are you supposed to say to a guy at that point?
Tough luck.
Get the hell out. I don't know. But you know what they should make, really what Uber should do is kind of make a day in the life of Uber, or Uber day, or Uber
Right.
night, whatever you want to call it, because when you pick up rides early in the day or early in the evening, a lot of times it's couples or it's people going to the clubs. And then at the end of the night, you should have a camera just follow them around as they get back into the car, because the whole dynamic of the night changes
Yeah.
when they're loaded at the end of the night.
Yeah,
Because
I imagine you've got couples who are in the middle of fighting, and the girl's really drunk and the guy's embarrassed, and you're in the middle of all of that. And
I mean, that happens in any cab, like you said. But Nick, what kind of car do you drive for this?
I have a beautiful Honda Pilot.
Do you let people
Loaded
sit in your
with-
front seat? Because that's a thing with
I'm
Uber. Do you let people sit in the front seat of your car?
If they want to, for the most part, they sit in the back seat. But the scary part is, like I said, I got a 4.5-year-old, and a lot of times they sit right where my son's car seat is. So I really have to disinfect the car at the end of the night, or at least the next morning, before I let my son get in the bouillabaisse that was in my back seat the night before.
How do you feel about the regulations they're trying to put and trying to get rid of Lyft and Uber? And there's a new one coming too. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I think that somebody's in bed with the cab companies, and I think the cab companies have done nothing to help out the consumers, the customers. Like I said, you get in a cab, it's $5, and then let's say you pick up a guy in Midtown and you cross over, wherever that line is, that imaginary line, you cross over into Buckhead. They start surge pricing and they start doubling the fare because they crossed over into another zone. I don't even know what the hell that means.
They don't even
These are
turn
what
on their
the
meters.
companies do.
Half the time, these cabs in Atlanta, I noticed the meter doesn't even turn on, and if you don't notice it, they'll just drive and make up a
I
price.
don't know. I just don't know. I can't fathom why, like in a consumer-based market, that we have to abide. They're going to say, "Oh, Lyft and Uber can't exist,"
Right.
Because the taxis have all these regulations. You know how many flights I've missed, and doesn't seem like a lot. I've missed 3 flights since living in Atlanta because the taxi service sucks balls.
Yeah.
Like I literally will call the night before and schedule it. The next morning I'll call 2 hours before the scheduled pickup, and then I will wait 20 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass, on hold for 20 minutes, and then they get on. Where is my fucking cab? Oh yeah, we can't get a drive over there. It's like I ordered this last night. What is the problem?
How am I
Sorry,
not in the
dude,
queue?
can't do it. Lyft,
Well, Uber,
8 minutes it
here's
takes.
the
Uber,
reality
8 minutes it takes for them to show up. They're always early and they're
Right.
always happy. Like I don't care. This is a consumer market. Give me what I need.
Right.
Well, you're right.
I'm willing to pay for it.
Well, you're right.
All the taxis can go pile
Well,
up
and what it
into a
is,
field and burn.
It's
for
the
all I
same
care.
thing with taxi. Look, things change in business, and you have to adapt. They're going to have to compete with Uber, and they don't like that. And it's just like newspapers had to deal with the internet. I mean, how many newspapers are folding? Things change. Just because you had a business model that worked doesn't mean it's going to work forever. And this is always the first flush in this. Is the association gets together and tries to ban the competition, but it's America still, and it won't work. Uber
And
won't go
try.
away.
Please ban it. I hope they do, because all it's going to do is mean the technology is going to get a little bit better, and then they're going to take the mustaches and the glowing U's off of the Uber and the Lyft guys.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to stop me from essentially doing nothing more than getting on my phone and texting a buddy,
Yeah.
quote buddy, and says, "Come pick me up. I'll
Right.
give you some dough."
Right.
You can't.
I think
stop
it won't.
that.
They won't be able to stop it because it's too much.
Can't
I-
stop, won't stop the cab. Can't stop, won't stop, can't stop the cab.
I could.
Everybody.
We'll do this over the days and talk more about Uber, but we're running out of time, and I do want to get to a little bit of a sports report. So hit our sports sounder, and Nick Cellini will give us some stories. That's our sports sounder. All right, so it's kind of fairy sports, but go ahead, Nick.
Let me get into my sportscaster voice. I wonder how you guys feel about this. Vic Wild won a snowboarding event at the Olympics for Russia. He's from Reno, Nevada. So he essentially married a Russian athlete, became, I guess he acquired dual citizenship. So he won a gold medal for Russia, even though he's an American.
So he had
I'm not
dual.
really sure how I feel about that.
So he had dual citizenship. So he chose to go for the medals for the Russian team.
I guess it was better funded, whatever event he was doing there.
Right.
In Russia, he went over there, and it's just
Oh, it's
weird
annoying.
to see Americans in Russian gear winning a gold medal. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't. Is he? So his plan is to never come back. I'm guessing.
Well, I would stay over there if I was him, and I wouldn't display my gold medal when I came back.
A lot of athletes do that, though, don't they?
No. A lot of athletes are like play for the St. Louis. They play hockey in St. Louis, but they're really from Russia. So you're used to them being in America. When it comes time for the Olympics, they play for their team. But I don't know of many situations where an American who was born in America and still has American citizenship wins medals for Russia.
Is there prize money? Does the United States give prize money to the gold medal winners?
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
Russia
I don't believe
does.
they do, but maybe they do in Russia. You're right. And speaking of Russia, they lost. Their hockey team lost to Finland today, 3-1. So everybody thought they were going to see that rematch with the U.S. hockey team. They take on Jaromir Jagr in the Czech Republic today at noon. Vladimir Putin, I understand, during the third period of that 3-1 loss, took off his shirt to give the Russians some motivation. But it didn't work. And now they disappeared, as Jimmy Fallon said the other night. No one's ever going to see these Russian hockey players ever again. Speaking of people that can't stay in their own country, those people need to get out and get out quick.
Yeah, the American can stay, but the Russians will be welcome here. Well, most of them probably play in the NHL, right?
I'm sure they do, and during the lockout, a lot of them went over there and played.
That's too bad. Actually, we were talking about this yesterday at lunch, and I felt like it was really ramping up for the U.S. and Russia to get together again in the gold medal round, and I was thinking the Russians would probably win that one and walk away with the big victory. That's what I was worried about. So now, they're out. Russia's completely out of the games, right? As far as hockey goes.
they are finished as far as hockey is concerned. Let me bring up that lunch because I heard you, Eric, talking before about not really knowing how to ask for money, and you talked about that at our lunch yesterday a little bit as well. Was I supposed to pay for the lunch? I mean, it was only a breakfast. What was I supposed to do?
No, sir.
I'm feeling a little uneasy. I'm not going to lie to you.
I have a rule that whoever calls the lunch, whoever proposes the lunch, my protocol is that person should pay for the lunch.
I didn't do that the other day. Let's go get Mexican.
I know.
And then I went to the bathroom when the toilet, toilet when the check came. I was like, I'm out of here.
I've judged you for that. I feel like the person who calls it, a lot of times when we were on radio, we'd meet with people who wanted to be on the show or something like that, or they wanted to do a service. And, they would say, well, let's meet for lunch somewhere. And if they didn't pick up the check when they called the lunch, it doesn't matter what happened during our conversation. They weren't going to be on the show as far as I was concerned. I totally judge people in that way. So I called the lunch. So as far as I was concerned, it was on me.
All right, because I figured maybe after hearing that, coupled with the fact that you put your finger inside of my cup, that maybe you were trying to send some kind of a message. I don't know.
Well, the message I was trying to send was sexual. You just didn't pick it up, but that's okay. It happens to me a lot. I mean, if I put a finger in your cup, I think you should know.
Well,
you had sent something.
I wanted to bring up this Danica Patrick story real quick. Sports Illustrated in their swimsuit section online ran a picture of selfie that Danica Patrick took, her topless, and you can kind of sort of see her nipple.
Oh, really?
Isn't that why Danica Patrick's racing? Richard Petty said the other day the only way she would win a race is if nobody shows up.
Yeah.
That's why she's in a race car. That's why anybody pays attention to Danica Patrick. Not because she's a race car driver.
Right.
And it's only a matter of time. I said this 5 years ago. Only a matter of time before she gets the boob job and you see her gracing the pages of Playboy. At the risk of sounding like a sexist, I got to be honest.
But why though? I mean, that she's making for the money or
right
just
now
to stay in the public eye?
Well, for the when she's out of this ride, I presume that's what you mean when she's out of this ride. But racing is a strange sport in the sense that you need so much money to run a good program. And GoDaddy has gotten behind Danica Patrick. So even though people say, look, she's not as good a race driver as anybody else, she doesn't belong out there. In racing, if you bring an advertiser with you, you belong out there because you keep that program running. And so, my feeling on Danica Patrick is she is the best female race driver of all time. Now, relatively speaking, what does that mean? I don't think she'll ever win a race at the NASCAR level unless something really big happens, like a huge wreck that takes out 30 cars or something along those lines. But she did win an Indy race that was a professional race, and she's the only woman who's ever done that. So she deserves credit in the sense that she does have the mind of a race car driver. And I was surprised that Richard Petty, who is usually Mr. Nice Guy to everybody, actually during Speed Weeks did respond to that question. Asked if Danica Patrick would ever win a race, he said, well, if no one else shows up. And that is so unlike the King. That is so unlike Richard Petty.
And why would Tom Petty give a shit about racing? Oh, you said Richard
His
Petty?
granddad, Richard Petty, yeah.
I think I'm not going to race, and you think you're a girl.
Don't you make
maybe.
fun of Richard Petty.
I was making fun of Tom Petty.
Oh, okay. Well, they do kind of speak alike, so I was confused. So, Danica Patrick, she'll probably never win a race, but you know what, Nick? There's a lot of guys driving out there who aren't going to win a race. So that's
she's not going to win a race,
but
but she's won my heart.
Exactly.
I will tell you this. You talk about bringing in the money first and foremost, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers probably with a lot of your listeners and viewers right now. Why do you think Dale Earnhardt Jr. still has a job? He's one of the worst race car drivers out there, but he brings in the money.
Now,
people still love Dale Jr.
That's right. Now Dale Jr. would drive for a lesser team. He would not have somebody who had his record at Hendrick. Other people have raced there and didn't win a whole lot, and they're gone. So what you're right about is that if somebody else had that ride for Hendrick Motorsports, they would have lost it by now with his record. But you're also right, though. He has a huge fan base. They buy his stuff, and so he's always going to bring sponsorship. I disagree that he wouldn't be driving, but he'd be driving for Chip Ganassi or somewhere around there, like Jamie McMurray, that kind of ride. Dale Jr., his problem is he can't put a full race together. He's still a great race driver. If he was there at the end and he was battling out with 3 or 4 other people, he still has the skills. The sport has moved past him, and he doesn't know how to be there in the last 20 laps.
let's talk about real quick another guy who called it quits. Tony Gonzalez going to work the one-time Falcon tight end for CBS. He's going to do their pregame show. Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, both out.
Wow.
And he's got to be making over $1 million. Bill Cowher, who basically sits up there like a gorilla and grunts, is making about $1.3 million. So by that rationale, Tony Gonzalez is going to be making 7 figures at least.
Well, you know what? Finally, they've got someone who can speak on that pre-show. You had that pre-show. I mean, what the guys? James Brown is the host, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. He's articulate. He can speak. He's a great broadcaster. But next to him for years, we've had Dan Marino, who has the Jim Kelly mouthful of marbles. Well, Shannon Sharp, who is great and intelligent, but just his tongue is too big for his mouth. And then Bill Cowher, who just sounds like a Cro-Magnon man up there, and it's unwatchable to me. I would always watch Fox, and Tony Gonzalez is very. I think he's going to be great on there. They've done exactly the right thing. I feel bad for Shannon Sharp, who's a local. I don't feel bad for Dan Marino because I'm a Bills fan, so I'm used to hating him. So I think that
you're from Rochester, right? I'm from Cleveland. Similar climate. Let's talk about LeBron James.
Oh yes,
42 last night. They beat Dallas, of course, 2 straight championships. He's going to be a free agent at season's end, and there's been a lot of talk of maybe him going back home. He's from Akron, Ohio. He says, right now, I can't even think about that. I'm thinking about winning a championship.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I know you love your hometown. Where would you rather live and make millions and be successful, in Miami or in Cleveland?
He's not
I'm
leaving.
from Cleveland. I'd stay in Miami in a heartbeat. Why would you want to go back?
Yeah, he's not. They would have trouble getting him back to Cleveland if they had a team full of all-stars that he knew he could go win championships with. He's definitely not going to go back to Cleveland when they've got a middling team. Isn't their team still middling?
I wish they were middling. They're below, well below.
Okay, yeah. So,
Their owner is irresponsible drunk. Don't forget he sent out, and I'll allege that. I don't want to get sued by anybody. He sent out that email after LeBron signed with Miami saying, as a self-proclaimed king, we're going to win a title. I would imagine if he talked out loud as he was writing the email, it would have sounded something like that. We're going to win a title before him, and of course that never happened. And they're still floundering.
Cleveland couldn't win a title with him, or else he would have stayed. He tried to be a good guy. LeBron,
bunch of babies.
What?
Who cares if you? Oh, he's from here. He should play here. You know what? No, that's not how this game is played. The game is not played by anybody who lives where they're from. Atlanta tried it with Frank Gore, and then he started sucking wind, and they sent him away. Nobody gives a shit where you're from. And if you care that much about your professional basketball team and these millionaire babies wanting to move to Miami to win championships, and you clearly don't care about the sport because that's what the sport is. It's not about being a home. This isn't the ABA. Okay?
I think that LeBron did the best he could to be the hometown kid. He was there for a long time. He stayed with Cleveland. He did what he could. I think in LeBron's heart, he wanted to take Cleveland. He wanted to take that area of Ohio to a championship. That team let him down. He didn't let them down. And the fans who hold it against him. Now, the way he did it, the way he left and did the decision, that was ham-handed, and he's admitted it. But I would not be surprised if LeBron, in 4 or 5 or 6 years, at the tail end of his career, when the championships in Miami are over, I would not be surprised if he didn't end up back as a Cavalier for the last 1 or 2 years. Just because I do think it's in his heart to be there. I think it does matter to him. Hey, Nick, we're running out of time. We can do one more story, I'm being told, from Greg Russ, my
we have
engineer.
time for one more.
You got another one or another idea on LeBron? Whatever you got.
Well, I was just going to say about LeBron James. You're right. The way he did it wasn't the right way, but how can you argue with the success? He won 2 titles. He's probably going to win another, and you're right. I mean, you look at guys leaving their hometown. It's a business, man. Brian McCann is from the Atlanta area, from Duluth, and he got millions upon millions to go play for the Yankees, and a lot of people blamed him. What's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
If a team isn't going to pay you, are you supposed to take millions upon millions less? And I love when people say, what's the difference, 2 more million? I don't know. If I offered you 4 versus 2, would $2 more million make a difference to you?
Of course it would.
It's really easy to judge people when you're not in their shoes.
Well, and also people who are working in, I'm sure if you're working in Cleveland in an insurance agency and they've got an opening in Miami in the same company and you're going to make twice the money. Oh, do you stay in Cleveland or do you go work at that other branch in Miami?
You know, I think you just both turned me around. You make a good point when LeBron. I said, who cares? LeBron's leaving. It's a business. If I lived in Cleveland, that would be the biggest possible,
right?
biggest travesty of my life.
See, if you
the only thing we kind of had for a minute at $75 a ticket is now gone.
People who
I still live in this shithole.
People who live in big cities do not understand what pro teams mean to small. If you're on the Buffalo Bills, no matter what your record is, you're the most famous. You're the most famous people in Buffalo. You're not. I mean, Matt Ryan is not the most famous person in Atlanta, and in Cleveland. I mean, the fact that they had LeBron James was something that Clevelanders talked about every day.
Yeah.
It was their source of pride that they had. They're the birthplace. I mean, Akron was, but that he was close to there. So. I think LeBron's a good guy. He was ham-handed the way he did it, and I guess what I'm coming down with is saying I think you'll see him in a Cavaliers uniform at the tail end of his career because he will want to go back there because he does love his home people. Nick Cellina. I've changed your name just to protect you.
Cellina.
Nick Cellini.
Thank you very much. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I'll get a job.
There you go. Nick Cellini is going to join us here. I don't know if we're going to do it daily or every other day or however we're going to do it, but we have Jay Busby also who helps us with sports. I want to talk to Jay's kind of going to do, in my mind, I have to talk to Jay about this, but, like focus on things like the Olympics and Daytona. But I felt it would be good to have a sports reporter right here on the show with us, and I appreciate you, Nick, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Anytime. You know my number.
And I have the Uber app, so.
Oh, yeah, and the Uber app. Give him a call. I don't need to hear that again. That's another guy, by the way, just got screwed by radio.
Right.
Just absolutely screwed by radio. Like, he's got to sit there and not make money because a bit upset some people.
Now, wait, is he not making money or is he just sitting at home?
I don't know what his contract, but he's
Probably,
not working. He's not in the public eye.
He's making more with Uber, I guarantee it, than he's making in radio.
I don't know what his contract was. I don't know if he's paid what to sit or I don't know. All contracts are different. But just being completely screwed. We do these things. Radio people are on the air. If you're on a morning show, you do about 20 hours a week, and you're talking all the time in a talk format. And you do something for 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and the whole world stands up and says, "Your kids shouldn't eat tonight." That's what I hear. I don't hear you shouldn't have a job. I hear you shouldn't be able to provide for your family because you upset some people. And he did a thing about the New Orleans player who has ALS. He called the family. And he apologized to the family, and the family accepted his apology. I mean, that radio station could have had them in New Orleans. They could have raised money. They had all kinds of ways to go about this. But let me tell you what happened. The people over there already wanted to get rid of that show. Mm-hmm. And they stand on their asinine high horses like, no, we were offended by it. You weren't offended by anything. You're in those halls. You know those people. You talk to them every day. And it just really pisses me off, let me use piss twice, these piss ants in radio management who push you to the edge and push you to the edge, and they love it when you bring them, you're entertaining and you bring them new numbers, and the second you go off for 3 minutes and piss somebody off, there's no back there.
Right.
There's nothing. These people have no nads. Radio must die in order for entertainment to survive.
Well, that's why we're doing a show like this, right? And you want to try and have something that is maybe disconnected from that. So that you don't have to deal with someone coming over and saying, oh, you maybe offended someone today, or you need to take more calls,
I think Nick admits he if he could do it again, he wouldn't have done it again. And in hindsight, he thought maybe it was a bad idea. But the point of the whole thing is that he apologized to the family, and the family accepted his apology. But those wheels were already in motion, and you had these douchebags at the top who said, oh, we can get rid of the show that we already want to get rid of, and they won't admit it. Right. And then they get to stand up there like they're great Americans or something. Oh, we would never do such a thing. If you thought you could get $3.50 more for such a thing and get away with it, you'd do it.
I think you just stumbled upon the slogan that's going to be on our T-shirts. Radio must die for entertainment to live on.
Thank you. For entertainment to survive.
Survive.
Let's say it together. Radio must die.
I don't know
let's
how
get it
it
together. Radio must die for entertainment to survive. Are you ready?
I'm not part of this cult you're starting. I will wear the shirt, though.
Hold your hands up high. Radio must die for entertainment
I'm the only
to... You're the ground floor. Don't leave me now.
I'm trying to get fired already.
Radio must die for entertainment to survive.
Oh, we gotta have to work
Live on
this
is better,
one.
I think. We all
No,
accidentally
it's-
I
say
can't
that.
believe I
It's
just
more-
created this
Oh, we'll
monster.
work on it. We'll
Yeah,
work on it.
It's
We'll
gonna look good
work
on
it.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
By the way, give to Patreon, and if you give into Patreon, I promise I'm gonna get the goodies to you that I promised to you. Yeah, I promise. How can I get people? Then, oh wow, now I gotta deliver on this. Bumper stickers, T-shirts, newsletter. All these things are coming. Patreon.com if you want to be a part of Entertainment Surviving. If you want to be a part of Killing Radio. Patreon.com, Eric Von Radio. You want to be in business with me? I want to be in business with you. Join our team. We're having fun, right? This is a good
Yeah.
team to be a part of. $10 a month, you can be part of this team.
Do you have any more shows happening today?
No, this is the only one today. Why?
Okay, I was just curious.
Did you want?
Some people were wondering. People were
we got to
asking.
do. We have to figure out a way to do phones or something because I have to do that other show at noon. Oh no, today is Wednesday.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I keep thinking I'm one day off. I thought that it was Tuesday.
President's
so
Day.
I don't
Screwed
know.
you up.
We'll have to think about it. I might do it on Thursday because I want to have phones. I don't want to do it the same way we did last time.
Right.
So, but that's a good time for me to say we'll probably do that other show on Thursday because we haven't got the phones fixed here yet. I mean, Nick is great and he sounded kind of wobbly. I don't want to have that kind of. Well, we can't do it every day. We got to make that better.
Right.
It's a cell phone. He was on a cell phone.
No, I think he was at his computer with Skype.
No, that wasn't on Skype.
You don't think so?
If he were on Skype, it'd be clear.
You think
Jay
so?
Busby's on Skype.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's got a microphone.
Yeah, it might have to do with the
He's
equipment.
used to doing that. I think.
No, it was a phone. I call it a cell phone.
I don't think it was. I think it was his Skype number.
It was. It was.
Guys.
No, it was a cell phone.
Why are we arguing like this? Why do you
I'm just trying
always
to-
have
no,
to
'cause
disagree
I'm trying
with
to tell
me?
you.
Do you hate me?
No, it
You
was a
trying to
cell
sync
phone.
this show? I'm trying to wrap it
I'm
up
trying
in a
to tell you the
professional
phones
way.
aren't as bad as you think they are.
All right. Either way. But I know, but we can't do a
Alright.
call in because I don't have a number for people to call in.
Well, that's.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Maybe we'll do it. I'll let you know. After this fight, I'm exhausted. That's the morning show with EVH. Oh no, it's not. Autumn Pritz. Autumn Fisher. Where can we see you?
You can find me on all the social media at Auto Pritz, Pritts.
Michael Albanese, you are in show business, as I
I
understand.
am.
Any appearances to speak of?
I will be at the Improv in Buckhead tonight,
Mm-hmm.
hosting the wonderful open mic. And just say if you heard about it here, you get in for free. I
How
just
about that?
decided that. Say you heard about it here and you got in for free.
Oh, I got driving and crying tickets for the shows this weekend too in Marietta. So I got to start. Got to figure out how to give those away tomorrow.
So log into the social stream. That's probably how we'll do it.
We'll do it on the social stream.
Or
I
with
haven't figured out-
phones, maybe. If you get
Well, if
the
we have
figured
phones,
out, yeah,
we'll
that'd
do
be
something
fun,
like
yeah.
that. Tell people where I'm going to be this Friday because you
You
have
were going to be
better-
at the Village Theater off of Decatur
yeah.
Street.
DeKalb.
DeKalb.
It's
It's
DeKalb.
DeKalb. You're right. DeKalb Street and
Cab Avenue.
whatever.
It's in Decatur.
Just look it up. Village Comedy.
Where is it? In? What is it? in?
Nobody needs directions anymore. Just friggin' give me the address or the name of
Village-
it, and I'll put it in my phone.
Yeah.
Village Theater, villagecomedy.com. It's the
Armando
show. which
Costs
is
you
an
$10.
and it's an awesome time.
Basically, I go up. I tell a few stories in my life, and I've got some choice ones. True stories of my life. I tell the story, and then their improv actors start
And
acting it out.
Basically, yeah, they take inspiration from your stories and act them out.
Yeah.
And fun games.
And I want people to know it's $10. I don't get any of that money. That's
Nope.
just for them. That's for the theater and what they do. You're supporting the theater. We're all going to be there. Michael's going to be a little bit late, but we're all going to be there.
But I will be drunk.
And
so-
he'll be drunk, and he's always fun when he's on the potato juice. So that's this Friday. Starts at 8:30. Go to
villagecomedy.com, and it's right next to the King Memorial East-West MARTA station. So if you can't drive, it's right there. Plenty of parking, all free. We'll go get Mexican food after or before or during.
And Eric will pay.
I'll pay
Nice.
for everything, of course, as I always do, until I'm just dead broke and you can't get any more blood from the stone. Greg Russ, anything that people need to know about you?
It's my last night in the Highland Inn. Don't come look for me. I'm busy. Leave me alone.
Okay. Leave Greg Russ alone and go see Michael Albanese at the Improv tonight. That's the morning show with EVH. We'll see you or talk to you tomorrow morning.